This is probably going to be my most polarizing take of Booker 2023. I really did not like this book. Hello, book friends. Welcome back to the channel. Hello, if you are new. It's Alyssa. I am wrapping up reading the long list for Booker 2023. And today we have Prophet Song by Paul Lynch. This is, I think, the last book to be published. It came out recently. We waited for this book, and I just don't think it was worth the wait, in my very humble opinion. And I feel like this is also not a popular opinion, because based on the reviews that I have been seeing come out of people on Goodreads and Storygraph and just the general buzz around Prophet Song, people really love this book, and I just don't get it. This book makes me angry in a way that other books that I didn't like on this list didn't do. So, let's talk about it. Prophet Song is set in Ireland. It is set in Dublin, and one night, this scientist, Eilish, she answers the door, and this government agency is there. They're called GNSB. They are a secret police that's newly formed in Ireland, and they're basically there to arrest her husband, who is essentially like a union leader, and he's trying to do something through the union, which the government decides is not good and illegal, and he ends up kind of being disappeared. And then things unravel. It becomes this very dystopian, almost Orwellian story about totalitarianism, and I guess how easy it is to slide into a totalitarian state as a country. And on the surface, as a dystopian novel that is sort of like a parable or a warning, uh, I do enjoy what was attempted with Prophet Song. My problem is that the execution of this was lackluster. And I think this comes from when literary fiction authors try to write like dystopian sort of sci-fi, and they don't have a firm grasp on that genre, and they kind of end up not doing either one well. It's not good literary fiction. It's definitely not good dystopian sci-fi or fantasy. It's speculative. Pick a category. It's not doing well there either. And I just generally found this book to be boring and tedious. And the last line made me want to throw my Kindle across the room. Who cares? And the thing that I think bothers me the most about this book is some of the things that the author himself has said. So we're just going to talk about that, and then maybe I'll say some good things. Let's do it that way. I'm going to say all the things I dislike, and then we'll say some good things. So it'll probably be a quick video, because I can't even rant about this because I so want to just move on with my life. I also am getting sick. I don't care anymore. This is the 12th book that I've read for Booker. It made me the most annoyed, and I just don't care anymore. This is straight from the Booker's website, so I'm just so you know where I got this all. There's a couple quotes that I have that I want to read to you. One, Paul Lynch's harrowing and dystopian Prophet Song vividly renders a mother's determination to protect her family as Ireland's liberal democracy slides inexorably and terrifyingly into totalitarianism. That sounds great. Readers will find it timely and unforgettable. I will never forget this. This is true. It is a remarkable accomplishment for a novelist to capture the social and political anxieties of our moment so compellingly. Lynch says that, quote, I was trying to see into the modern chaos, the unrest in Western democracies, the problem with Syria, the implosion of an entire nation. the scale of its refugee crisis, and the West's indifference. The invasion of Ukraine had not even begun. I couldn't write directly about Syria, so I brought the problem to Ireland as a simulation. And here's where I get really annoyed. I feel like the point of this book is to create empathy for refugees and people that are victimized by their governments in a way like has happened in Syria. But instead of it being a story that centers the people affected by this, and there's going to be people who argue that this is why it's great, and I don't think this is why it's great, but instead of centering those people and giving them voice, you centered yourself and then channeled their plight through you so that you could figure out how to empathize with Syrian refugees and the like. When there are books already on the market that beautifully portray from the perspective of the actual people that are refugees what it's like, and how those books are somehow not enough to spark radicalized empathy, or whatever the direct quote is that is in this Booker Prize interview. I do not like the centering of Paul Lynch and Ireland and all of this as a way to be able to actually develop empathy for Syrian refugees. I get the point. The point is to, if you center yourself, then perhaps you can see, you can stand in the shoes of somebody else, and then maybe you can produce empathy for these refugees. I get that. But I also don't like it, and it gives me the ick because it sort of erases the voices of the people that are actually going through this, because you've written them out of the story and written yourself into it. And this might not be everybody's favorite take, but it really freaking bothered me. That, and the fact that the text is just one big block of nonsense. You never know who's speaking. It is so in need of an edit. It is not clever or smart to just throw everything into clumps of text and be like, "Oh, it's just different. It's just literary." No, it's just bad writing. I shouldn't have to reread a paragraph that has no proper punctuation to delineate dialogue or who is speaking. I shouldn't have to read it multiple times to figure out who said what. It was unnecessarily tedious in the way it was written, and I just did not like the choice of centering oneself in the narrative to then somehow provoke empathy for other people who have been telling their narrative and are shouting their narrative and are not getting empathy. And you can disagree with me in the comments, because I think that this is going to be something that people are going to disagree with me on. But it really irked me in it really irked me. And as somebody who reads sci-fi and fantasy and speculative fiction, I just didn't find any of those elements to this story to be well done either. There's not a lot of a good world building. I think what really makes something like 1984, which I feel like there's a lot of harkening back to a 1984 kind of like feel while reading this, what makes that so good is that that is a very tangible world that makes sense. The world building is fantastic. You know where you are, you understand the government, you understand where our characters are in their little world. You can feel for them. It's well done. This is such a like a second draft. It needs help. And I cannot believe that we waited to read this. I honestly cannot believe that it's getting as good reviews as it is. But then again, people really love Demon Copperhead, and I think that book is trash. So what do my opinions matter? In terms of good things, I did like that it centered Eilish and her struggle to, one, sort of keep up hope that her husband is still alive, that she had to maintain her home and her kids, and the amount of work she does to try to keep her family together, to keep everybody safe. At the same time, I just don't feel like the world building in this book was good enough for me to truly, it could have been better. it just could have been better. All around, this could have been written better. It could have been done differently. I feel like you could have never said that this is supposed to radicalize empathy and is something that you've decided to be inspired by Syria and Syrian refugees, but then just totally write them out. That bothers me. It bothers me that you said that. Anyway, this is probably a ramble because, like I said, I don't feel well, but I didn't like it. I don't like this book. Oh boy, do I not like this book. And I feel like a lot of you have it on the top of your list, and a lot of people really loved it, but I just, ooh, I couldn't. I couldn't. I was so very happy when it was over, and then I was so mad with that last sentence. This is my current ranking. Some things have moved around. For context, this ranking is just my feeling on the books. It is not necessarily my thoughts on what will be shortlisted. I think I may put together something once I'm done with all these reviews that goes through perhaps my shortlist prediction for reals, not just my feelings on the books, but what do I think the judges will actually pick. But this is what I like or don't like. And thank you guys for watching. I'll see you in my next video, whatever it may be, because it's my channel and I can do whatever I want. Bye.
So just sit with me, talking to the night until the morning, building chemistry. I don't think I ever wanna go come closer next to me. Trying to find another way to say this, but I think we were meant to be.